Okay, let's dive into one of the most fundamental and maybe one of the weirdest questions you can ask about yourself. It's a puzzle that's hiding in plain sight in every single thing you do.
I mean, really, stop and think about that for a second. How does an idea, something that has no weight, no size, no location, actually make your physical arm, your leg, your body move through the world? You do this literally all day, every day. You feel a desire for a snack, and suddenly your legs are carrying you to the kitchen. You have the thought to wave to a friend, and your arm just goes up. We completely take this for granted, but this connection between mind and body is the absolute bedrock of our lives. And this whole idea that what you think and feel can actually change things in the physical world is at the absolute core of who you are. It's what makes you an agent, an actor in the world, not just a thing that gets bumped around. Without it, big ideas like personal responsibility and making choices start to crumble. So, to really get our heads around this puzzle, we got to take a trip back in time, all the way back to the 17th century, and to the philosopher who really set the stage for this whole debate, a guy named René Descartes. So, Descartes had this big idea called substance dualism. He argued that you are made of two totally different kinds of stuff. On one hand, you have your physical body, the flesh and bone that takes up space. But on the other hand, you have your mind, or your soul, which is this completely non-physical thinking thing. But this idea hit a major snag almost immediately, and the person who pointed it out was the incredibly sharp Princess Elizabeth of Bohemia. She wrote to Descartes and asked a killer question. How exactly is this non-physical soul supposed to push around a physical body? To make things touch, you need touch. It's like asking a ghost to lift a bowling ball. How does that even work?
I mean, just look at this comparison. It really drives the point home. The mind, the soul, is defined by having no location, no physical properties whatsoever. The body is defined entirely by its physical properties. They are complete opposites. So how in the world are they supposed to interact?
Okay, so you might be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, this is all very 17th century. Nobody really believes in some spooky, immaterial soul anymore. And you're right, most scientists don't. But here's the crazy part. Getting rid of the ghost didn't get rid of the problem. It just gave it a modern, and you could argue, a much trickier makeover.
See, the modern view is a little different. It's not about two different substances. It's about one substance, your physical brain, that has two different kinds of properties. It has physical properties, like neurons firing and chemicals flowing, and it has mental properties, like your beliefs, your desires, your feeling of being you.
So problem solved, right? If the mind is just a feature of the brain, then of course it can cause stuff. End of story. Well, not so fast. The puzzle didn't go away. It just got sneakier.
Okay, let's break this down. Step 1, we toss out the old idea of a soul. Gone. Step 2, we say the mind is just a property of the brain. Your thoughts, feelings, intentions. But that leads us right to step 3, the brand new puzzle. How can those mental properties cause anything when the brain's physical properties seem to be doing all the work anyway?
Okay, here's a great way to think about this. Picture a soprano hitting a super high note, and bam, she shatters a wine glass. Now that sound she made has a bunch of different properties, right? It has acoustic properties, its vibration, its frequency, and it has semantic properties, the meaning of the words she's singing. Now, which property actually shattered the glass? It was the vibration, the acoustic one. The meaning of her lyrics was totally irrelevant.
And that analogy brings us right to the core of the modern problem. It's this really tough challenge called the exclusion problem. And it basically asks, are your thoughts the glass-shattering vibrations, or are they just the lyrics, totally irrelevant to the action? To get this, we have to start with a really fundamental idea in science. It's called the completeness of the physical. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. It just means that for any physical thing that happens, like your arm moving, there is a complete physical explanation for it. You never need to appeal to something non-physical to explain it.
And this is where the trap snaps shut. Let's walk through the logic. You decide to act.
That decision has a mental property, the feeling of intending to act. Let's call that M. At the exact same time, your brain has a physical property, a pattern of neurons firing. We'll call that P. Now, your action is a physical effect. And because of that completeness principle, the physical brain property, P, is totally sufficient to cause the action all by itself. So the question is, what's left for your mental property, M, to do anything?
It starts to look like the mental part is just along for the ride. The physical neurons are doing all the real heavy lifting, and your conscious intention is just piggybacking, getting a free ride on the real causal process. It's a freeloader.
And that leads us to the real punch in the gut question. Is your conscious intention, that inner feeling of, I am choosing to do this, is it just an echo? A sideshow to the main event that's already happening with the physical machinery of your brain?
And look, I know this can feel like some abstract philosophical puzzle, but trust me, this is not just a game. The stakes here are incredibly high. The answer could change how we see, well, everything about ourselves. Think about it. If your mental states are just causal freeloaders, what happens to agency? Are you truly doing anything, or is your body just happening? And what about free will or moral responsibility? How can we praise or blame anyone for their behavior if their conscious mind didn't actually cause it? It paints a pretty stark picture, doesn't it? If your mind has no real influence, you're not the pilot of your own body. You're just a passive observer, a passenger watching it all happen. So that's the big, unsettling question we're left with. When it comes to your life, is your conscious mind the author of your actions, writing the story as you go? Or are you just reading a script that was already written by the physical laws governing your brain?